Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you again for joining us at our North Central Washington College and Career Expo and Conference for our noon session. We are joined by Jenny Rojanasthien from the North Central Washington Tech Alliance to chat with us about Entrepreneurship 101. So, thank you so much, Jenny.
Thank you, Christy, for the introduction. And thank you to everyone for joining today. I am so excited to be a part of this year's College and Career Expo. It's one of my favorite annual events. But this is a little different for me because I am really sharing not only my career, but my businesses. And so it's a chance for me to be vulnerable and share a little bit of my story with you. So, with that, let's see if I can advance these slides. Perfect. All right. So, first of all, I wear a couple different hats. I serve as the executive director for NCW Tech Alliance. And NCW Tech Alliance is a 501c3. We're a nonprofit that supports technology, entrepreneurship, and STEM education. And as the executive director, I have the opportunity to work with 5 incredible staff, including 65 businesses who support our work in the community. I'm also the owner of 2 restaurants along with my husband. We own the Thai restaurant, which has been serving Bangkok style Thai cuisine to the Wenatchee Valley since 1991. It's a business my husband and I purchased from my mother and father in law when they retired about 6 years ago. And we also own and operate Atlas, which is a restaurant that opened in 2020, serving new American cuisine and kind of a modern environment. So, entrepreneurship, I wear a couple hats as I just illustrated. I work a day job, I have 2 restaurants. Why would I go out and be an entrepreneur? Well, as I prepared for this speech, I found lots of great graphics and information on entrepreneurship, some of which I agreed with, and some of it I didn't, and I'll tell you a little bit why. But here, this is a nice little illustration. So, there's a couple different motivators for why people would go into business for themselves. Money, that's a big one. People the opportunity, financial success, financial freedom, the flexibility of being your own boss, the control over your decision making, the opportunity to pick the team you work with, and also legacy. So, the impact you create, whether that's the impact you create in your community or the impact of an innovative startup company that's going to revolutionize the world. So I did really like this illustration about motivation, but I'm going to go more into my motivation here in just a second. There's also a lot of charts like this about entrepreneurship. That at a startup, you're at an ideation stage, you're generating content ideas, you're building out your media plan, your products, you're going out to financing, and then you're just continuously to get up to the ladder of success. Well, I fundamentally disagree with this. I think as in entrepreneurship, it's not linear, and it certainly doesn't just go start from the bottom and up to the top. For me, entrepreneurship looks a little bit more like this. One, I think it's a maze, and once you're in it, you're kind of in it for a variety of reasons. So you've made commitments to your team, you've made commitments financially in starting the business path, you've made commitments in terms of your career. And so once you're in the maze, you've got to navigate through that system, kind of whether you like it or not. It's full of choices. So the second image here, there's a lot of pathways in entrepreneurship, and every day you make decisions as a business owner that aren't necessarily black and white of right or wrong. Each pathway has different opportunities, and it's complex to make decisions. And third, you feel a lot of times like, what am I going to do next? There's definitely this mind blown aspect to being an entrepreneur. It's on you to navigate the maze, it's on you to make the decisions. And a lot of times, those aren't easy things to do. So I'd like to think about entrepreneurship and my journey as more of a trail that I've been building on, and I'm still not finished. So it's no ladder. I haven't reached the top of success where I've arrived and I'm done in this journey. It's more of a crisscross, and sometimes it's quite frankly an up and down. There's actually a Seattle startup. It's called Own Trail, and they're really trying to highlight the stories and journeys of women in their careers to show that success and the journeys we build for ourselves don't just happen one ladder at a time, but are a myriad of things. And those things don't just include our journey as far as career, like my career as a nonprofit director or my journey as a restaurant owner, but they're also the big life moves, the travels we take, the personal obstacles that we face, pets, marriages, buying homes. Those all make up the trail and the journey of our lives. And that has very much impacted my trail and journey to entrepreneurship. So let me give you the background. That my journey looks a little bit like the trail here. So in the top left, I'm not going to explain all of these. That photo was taken when I was 21 years old. I graduated from Washington State University with a bachelor's degree in public affairs. And when I started on the job market in 2006, the economy was really challenging at that time, and I struggled to find employment. I went to job fairs. I started working at a retailer in the dressing room, folding clothes. I did anything and everything I could to find a great career option following college. And here's the thing, I never found the one job when I graduated and was 21 years old. Instead, I found a place that was a great stepping stone where I learned a lot. And that was at an appliance retailer in Portland, Oregon. And that image from the newspaper was the first time I was ever in the newspaper about my career. I became an executive assistant. And from there, I launched into an up and down pathway that's now led me to Wenatchee. I have a love of animals, so I later worked for a pet store in Seattle. I met an incredible woman from New Hampshire traveling in Italy, who she was a manager at Target, referred me into kind of the Target management system, where I later ran my own Target store with 110 employees and $19 million in revenue. And then, of course, running the Target store, which was based here in Wenatchee, led me to meet my husband, who was an entrepreneur and running his family restaurant, the Thai restaurant. And after meeting my husband and falling in love with this community, I said, you know what? I'm not going to do retail management anymore. Instead, I want to pursue nonprofit because I want to leave a legacy and I want to support the community. So I jumped out of retail, took a career step back, and went to work for Pybus Public Market, where I was the operations manager and had the opportunity to learn from a lot of cool people. From there, the Tech Alliance hired me. I've worked in this role for over 6 years. I gained skills, capacity, learning opportunities, and that has now led me to opening my second business. So the journey was all over the place. And for today, I know I'm looking at the time, I have just about 10 minutes. I'm just going to highlight one story of entrepreneurship for you. So earlier, I showed that great graphic of why do people become entrepreneurs? I think it happens a lot of different ways. And I would challenge those who are listening today to never feel like you have to sit down, come up with an idea, write a business plan, and then you go through the stages. Often life presents opportunities to us, and you can take your job experiences, your career experiences to transform that into a business plan. So this is what is now my restaurant. On January 31st, 2017, I was touring an office space for my nonprofit, and I walked in and I saw these dilapidated walls. I saw these great windows, and I walked in and said, I'm going to build a business here. I didn't have a business plan for that. I wasn't even thinking of building a business there. But I walked into this space and I was just inspired and had this spark that I could do something here. I saw these rough edges and I wanted to transform it into something beautiful. So this is what Atlas Fair, again, which is now my restaurant, looked like back in 2017. And so we went through the journey. This is my husband and I signing our lease. This is us getting our first business loan and us in the construction process. So there were a lot of highs in our journey to start this restaurant. There were also a lot of lows in building a new restaurant. Like when our product came in the day before opening, all of the plates broken and smashed from the manufacturer, and there was nothing I could do. I got a lot of emails like this. Jennifer's my full name. You've gone over your credit limit, maxing out every credit card to finish the job, as well as challenges in constructions like a temporary permit and the city not allowing us a final occupancy so we could grow the business. But in the end, we were able to finish the remodel and open up a new restaurant in 2020. And Atlas Fair then now kind of looks like this. But then what happened? COVID happened, and I went back into the maze with a lot of questions about what I was going to do and a lot of stress and frustration of having not just one business shut down due to the pandemic, but two businesses shut down, and how I was going to navigate that for my staff. And so I go back to this chart. And for me, the journey and what I do now every day is really about four. Pick the team you want to work with. When I started off seeing that dilapidated space, I wasn't thinking about the employee base I would someday work with. I just wanted to transform something beautiful. I was kind of in this legacy, leaving a footprint. I was also excited about the business plan of growing and creating wealth and building a new business. But now, having gone through the process and having gone through all these challenges, for me, it's all about four. It's about the team we work with, especially during the pandemic, because I think all of us have realized how challenging it is to navigate in this world, how up and down and not linear it is. And it's really about the people that we spend our time with. And so I'll conclude by saying that my husband and I have two incredible staffs at our restaurants. We employ over 30 people. And my entrepreneurial journey, what I work on every day, is how can I create great systems and support to allow these incredible people the opportunity I've had, opportunity for them, their own trip, which will probably be a myriad of things, maybe leading to their own business, maybe to the next career opportunity, but empowering them to be successful in their journey. And with that, I will stop my screen share. I think I have about 5 minutes left if there are any questions.
Jenny, thank you so very much for sharing such an inspirational story or stories with all of our attendees today, and particularly with our current high school students that really need to hear these stories of entrepreneurship and how there are so many ups and downs, and to really like find a space and build something beautiful in that space or in your world. So that was fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. And again, we do have a couple minutes if anyone has any questions. We have one comment from Doug that says, Jenny, I love the viewpoint of the maze slash trail to describe the entrepreneurship journey. Congratulations on your successes. You are a terrific example for young people of how to navigate your entrepreneurial passion.
Well, thank you, Christy, and thank you, Doug. And I know that we have a lot of youth listening today, and putting a question in the chat may not be the best format, but for you, or maybe you don't want to share publicly, but I will let you know my email is jenny@ncwtech.org, or my business email is info, @atlasfair.com. And if I can ever be a resource to you in your journey or to answer questions, I'd be more than happy to do so. Some final piece of advice I realized I didn't include in my presentation is, I think the best things I've ever done for myself is to take a lot of jobs, different jobs, sometimes a step backwards in my career, but with an opportunity to learn something new. I've tried to take every opportunity I can to travel, because the more I go abroad or even in the States, I learn different perspectives. And that has really helped me in my journey. And I guess last but not least, it's always the highs and lows. And so entrepreneurship is a journey and not a destination, but it can be very rewarding.